Welcome back to the Spider's Web. What I want to show you today is how I'm going to be making my movement trays for Kings of War. So what you're going to need, if you want to do it this way, is you go to Starbucks, Costa or other coffee places, you'll recognise them, coffee stirrers. You also want some plastic card. I've got 1mm thick black plastic card, and you're also going to need super glue, and more importantly you're going to need some Mantic figures, like my little Ghoul friend here. So join me down at the table and I can show you what I'm doing, okay? Okay, so here's the black plastic card that I've got. You can use white if you wish. I use black because I can. And what I've done is, depending on the thickness of these stirrers, okay, the thicker ones I've glued 2 together, the thinner ones I've glued 3 together. Okay, you want something that's going to match the thickness of the base. Okay, so I've just noticed a little notch on here. I'll be looking at each of the bases before I put them down, just to make sure that there's no protrusions on it that's going to push it too far away. So what I've done is I've got a rough outline or rough measurements of how long these are. Now bear in mind I have 10, 20, 30, 40 ghouls. They are positioned in 4 ranks of 10. Okay, so as you can see, and I hope you can see, the joins I've staggered, you know, like you would do with brickwork and that. So you've got one join there, you've got another join, the middle join is there, hope you can see that, and the bottom join is there. So as you can see, one join, so the joins basically are there, that there, there and there. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Now I've got 2 sides, a front and a back. Obviously the longer ones are going to be trimmed down. Right, so what we're going to do first is, using our super glue, we're going to put a bead of this down our, I hope I've got enough super glue to finish this. So we're going to have a bead of super glue down the wood here, like so, and then we place it so that the very edge, it goes along the edge and into the corner, and we press it down like so. Okay, so give it a little bit of pressure to make sure it sticks properly. And next I'm going to, these are two sizes, alright, by the look of it. Actually it's not. We have a darker colour and a paler one, and the paler one looks to be narrower, but when I put them together they seem to be the same size. No, they're not. The paler one is slightly narrower. So I'm going to do this at the front. Okay, so I'll push that there. Again, we're going right to the very edge. I did put a mark on this to where it was going to be snipped off. No, it wasn't. It was on this one, a completely different one altogether. It was that one. So there's a mark there, as you may be able to see. That's where it's going to get snipped off, or thereabouts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do it I'm going to put the glue not quite up to that. Oh dear, what was it now? Is that the right one? Or that was a totally different one. The mark is there on the edge. That one I can ignore. That's the mark I'm looking for. So I'm not going to put the glue right up to that. I'm going to go down again a generous amount, because I want this to stick and stick properly. You could use hot glue if you wish, but I need some more super glue anyway, so I thought I may as well finish it off on this, and it will be quicker. And at the moment, with my hands the way they are working, a little less bothersome to do it this way. Okay, now don't worry if, you know, the wood from the stirrers aren't exactly straight. That is something that will be remedied when we get round to actually finishing off. I'm just showing you the basics first of how I'm doing this. Okay, so we get our, now that's attached, we'll get our first rank of ghouls and pop them in to position as to where they're going. I've also got a ghast in here as well, which is I would assume would be the leader of the ghouls, some such. He's the fellow who will be coming on next. Here he is. There's the ghast with his bone whip. Nothing like a walnut whip, unfortunately, but never mind. Okay, so we take the, as I said, the first 10 we will take and put into place. Now, can I get around doing this not any differently? No. Okay, so now I've put them in, I've noticed that the mark I placed was a little bit too far. Okay, so it needs to come a little bit closer. So I'm going to use my craft knife to put a mark there, and using a little bit of effort, cut down into it, and then using my snips, whoops, so usually cut down into it, and don't worry if you break anything like I just did. It is going to be covered in PVA and sand, so it's going to look okay when it's finished. And then it's simply a case of Just tidying up this edge, making sure that it's straight as can be, and then I've got a hair glued onto this. I thought it was something weird. Now what we're going to have to do now is just go around the edge of each of the model first of all and make sure there's no sticky out bits where it's been attached to a sprue. I haven't been too bothered about them as yet because I knew I was going to be doing this, so we can do that. It doesn't matter about scraping off any of the paint because you're not going to see that when it's glued in. But one thing we don't want to do is have any of those what do we call it, little bits of little lumpy bits at any side of those, because it will cause problems. It's not going to look as good. Okay, so that's that. What we can do now is in fact it's a waste of time doing that as yet. What I'm going to do is off camera I'm going to check on the bases for these, and then I'll go around and put the other figures in, and then when I come back we'll be able to glue this piece down, and then I can show you what I'm going to be doing next. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so back again. I've managed to get them all lined up to how I want them, and all that remains next is to glue down this piece. Now you can, if you wish, before anything else, which is what I'm going to do. Well, you can, if you wish, just glue it straight down like so, and then fit everything in there. But what I'm going to do first of all, before I do that, is I'm going to glue all of these down as well, because Kings of War, unlike Warhammer Fantasy, when you've caused damage to a troop, you don't remove pieces, so you can actually glue these down onto the movement trays, which will save a lot of time and faffing about if you do that. So that's what I'm going to do with these. But as I say, it's a case of glue them down exactly how you want them, make sure they're all nice and snug against each other, and then once that's done you can glue that piece on. What I was saying is, when this is finished now, it's as I say, you're going to glue, you've glued that edge, the front edge. You've got the choice, when you've glued all your pieces down and you've glued that back edge on, to put a piece at the back as well to keep them all in. That's one option, or you can just not bother with the back at all. I'm going to do a frame all the way around because I think it would look nicer, to be brutally honest. So that's how I'm going to do mine. Okay, so I'll snip that end off, snip that bit off, and it will look better. So when that's finished, what I'm going to do then is, I'll show you on this piece, just go around one edge, the outside edge, just go around it, whittle it down a little bit to make it look that a little bit more rounded. Okay, like, hoping you can see that. That's the edge I've done. Whittle it down. You can go a bit further down if you wish, and try and take off any corners. So this is just a scrap piece, and then once that's done, cover it in sand, paint it up, and it will look something like that. This is my old one for my Ghouls. It's made out of the little piece. It's not made out of plastic card. This isn't plastic card. This is cereal board, cereal box card rather. Done exactly the same thing with this though, but because I only had I think 10 ghouls, they just went on and sat inside and was quite happy sitting there trying to kill things on the battlefield. But as I said, I want something a little bit more permanent, well, a lot more permanent. I said these are going to be glued into place, and that's it. That'll be a much more permanent solution to the thing. So as I said, this is how it's going to look when it's finished, or when I finish gluing everything down. Once I've, obviously then it'll be cut out the thing itself, cut out the main part of the plastic card, and then it's just that part I'm looking at. So as I say, once I've gone down and glued all the pieces down, I will come back then and show you exactly what I'm doing with this. But when I'm gluing them down, it's just going to be a case of glue on the base, along that edge, place down, butt up as tight as I can, hold it for a few seconds, and then that is going nowhere. And then do the rest, do the same with all the others. It's at this time that you can really jiggy about with what figures go where. You don't have to keep them in the same order, so I'm just going to take all of them off. But you really want to have them that where they can fit together snugly without actually knocking each other out of place. So having something like this, you can't get it in, if you see, because that hand is going onto the. What you need in this scenario is something like that keeps away from the figure, but still has enough room to let the next chappy in, and then try and find one that will fit into there, like so. That won't work there, and then this guy needs to be in the middle, or as near to the middle as you can get. It's a row of 10. You're not going to get a middle space, so it's either going to be in the 5th place or the 6th place, obviously. And then it's a simple case of going through, filling up your first line, giving them a chance to dry, and then coming along and doing your second line, and then your third, and your fourth, and depending on what troops you have. Maybe a case of there being a 5th and a 6th, because zombies you can have a full squad of 60. So that's all I'm going to do now for a while, is get my I'll try and find a way of putting these in where they will actually fit together, and then once I've done that I will go on and dry fit them all. Sorry, I won't dry fit them all. I'll take the back row away, then the next row away, then the third row away, and just glue the front row in, give that chance to dry, glue the second row in, give that chance to dry, glue the third row in, etc, etc, etc. Okay, so that's how we're going now for the rest of the for a while with this, trying to get them fitted in again. I really should have left them how I had them, but just for the sake of stupidity I thought I'd show you how the problems that you can face, and I'm facing them. So there we are. I'll pull them all away and I'll start again. Okay, so I now know that that front one there is glued down, so I can't move that one. So until I get them all in the right position, I can't do much else with this. So I will leave it there for the time being, and I will come back later when they're all glued down and I can show you how I finish off. Okay, see you later. Okay, I'm back and I've glued on these on the ghouls, as you can see. See, ghouls all glued on, not falling off. I've also glued one of the zombies from the Dead Zone Contagion box that I opened. I did the unboxing video for earlier. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now is trying to finish off, if nothing else, the actual what's the word I'm looking for? The actual formation of the oh, what's it called? The movement tray. Okay, so we want glue on the top edge and one side edge, and that is going to be flipped over, trying hard not to get any glue on my fingers. It's going to go, let it turned over, and oops, placed on there. I'm going to try and get it so that it's butt up to the I was close. I was as close as we can anyway to the whatchamacallits, the actual bases of the models. So it's butt up and it's oh dear, butt up to the models and press down as well. So we've managed to do that, and next what we can do is exactly the same along this edge. What I'm going to do for this, however, is I'm going to put the glue along the back edge of the bases there, and I'll put a ribbon of it down there, and the rod is longer than the actual thing, so I'm going to match it up to this outside edge here so that it overhangs here and I can snip it off easier. And what I want to do is, same again, make sure it's pressed down but it's butt up against the bases. Oops, it's not quite there. I may need to put a bit more glue down here. It doesn't seem to want to stick in this area. I don't know why. There we are. Let's try that. Now, I know it looks a little odd at the moment, but once we've shaped the edges, covered it in glue, covered it in sand, it's going to look the business. As I say, it's going to look very much like this edge when it's finished. Okay, so that's as far as we can go here until we've got like the glue set. What's next is cutting off the actual thing from the main body of the plastic card. Now what we could do is just go along the edge of the wood, but I prefer to get a bit of a straight edge. So I've got my metal straight edge, which I'm going to place up against there, move it away slightly, and then I'm going at an angle with this. Oh god, I'm going to get an angle with this because the hands are overhanging, the hands of the zombies are overhanging, so it's not going to be easy to cut properly. But I put a score in there. Now, I thought I might have been able to just snap it, but unfortunately not. There we are. It wasn't snapping then, it was just bending for some strange reason. Okay, so I'm going to snip this piece off here. Like so. And then I'm just going to go along the edge of the one. I'm not using a ruler for this. I might be able to, although we've got the bit of plastic card trimmed off, it may be easier just going along the edge now and shaving it down. What we can do first of all is just shape the edges of the wood so it's not that sharp 90-degree angle. Don't go too heavy with it. Be careful as well, because especially if you're doing ghouls, because some of these ghouls, especially the ones with the weapons are very fragile. Like the daggers, as you can see, some of them using. That one on the end here has already snapped off and I've had to re-glue it on. Basically what you do is you cut the hand off and glue a new hand onto it. So it's a very, very small amount of space that the glue is sticking to. So as I said, be very careful if you're doing these. Other figures you probably won't have much problem with, but if you put the extra, the extra weaponry on the ghouls, then you will need to watch what you're doing. Okay, so that's movement tray 1 made. I say it's now just a case of covering all around the edges with the sand and gluing it. I won't put any static grass around it. It doesn't need it. All you need to do is just get the sand. Try and get as fine grade sand as you can, because it's exactly the same. It seems to be exactly the same height as the bases, so you don't really want a rough sand because it's going to take it a bit higher. So try and get as fine a grain of sand as you can. Okay, so that's it for this video. When I come back, you'll see it all sanded up and painted. I don't see the point of doing that on video, because you know how to do that. You just cover it in PVA, dunk it in sand, and then paint it the same colour as you painted the bases on the models. Okay, so that's how I'm making my movement trays for my Kings of War figures. This is my 40 man Ghouls regiment. I have a 60 man zombie regiment. Undead, Unending Swarm, I think that one's called. I have a few other things as well. I've got a Revenant's Cavalry regiment as well that I need to build one for. In fact, I need to finish them off. I think I've got one horse and rider to paint, and I'm going to want to do that on camera. I've got my 3 werewolves, but I'm going to get another 3, so I've got a default 6-man squad. And I've got the Balefire catapults. Is there anything else I have that needs doing? I don't know, I can't remember. But I'm going to do them all in roughly the same way, obviously doing different sizes for the different bases that I'm using. Okay, so as I said, that's it for this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's given you some ideas on how to do these things. If you can think of any other way of doing them, maybe an easy way, I don't know, please let me know. But until next time, close your knives. Until next time, as always, take care, God bless, and bye for now.